Maybe that. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. You will have to excuse me. This is probably not going to work at all. Nope. That's too bad. Give me a second, and I will explain everything. Let's try this. Okay. Okay. That. Okay. I can do that. All right. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Shalom. Hey. Can you see me? And can you hear me? I've got a microphone going. Thank you. Thank you. John and Grace Akers and NWA Prepper. Good morning. It's evening. Yes. Good. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Can see you and hear you. So I was going to do the live stream down at the house and I had no service at all. So I threw the whole apparatus into my vehicle and I drove up to our meeting hall, which tends to have better service than the house does. Here's our gas stove, window. It is warm up here. It's not air conditioned, and I opened a couple of windows which have screens in them. We got screens this week, had to be specially ordered because the company that makes the window doesn't make the screens, but we got them, hallelujah. And the sisters installed them, so I hear, while I was gone. Shalom, McMikey. Mama says I'm pixelated. Good evening. I'm going to watch as long as I can till I have to do chores. Grandma Ginger's farm, very pixelated. Okay. Shalom from Lake Ozarks area. Does anybody else say it's pixelated? I might have to move it. There's Lamp Keeper. Shalom. Kind of blurry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try moving this thing more towards the front of the building. Yes, pixelated. Okay, I will try. It's good to be home, correct? Yes, it is. All right, I will try moving it. Okay. I really don't want to go outside because it is so hot out there, but I will if the service continues to be pixelated. So let me turn this like this and put this down. Oh. Okay, and I will go back and get that shirt. Okay, that chair. Okay. Oh, gracious me. There. Is it any better? Okay. Can y'all see me? Am I still pixelated? Hey, Aid. Still, when I left for work today, my car's internal temperature was 115, bit better. Hey, y'all. I can hear you great. Better. Good. Okay. I moved to the front of the building. It's still very warm in here, but got a window open. Hopefully I won't sweat too bad. Shalom. Looks better. Good. Hans Harmon, Sister Kate, and Pastor Joe. Pastor Joe was kind of tired, so he didn't really want to drop in, and he's certainly not going to make the trip up here. out from our house because we have air conditioning going via the, what do you call it? Still pixelated. Yes, that's better pixelated. Sounds good. I hope you're staying as cool as possible. NWA Prepper, we are. We do have an air conditioning thing that runs on a generator. Walking to the poles on our property, hoping to get better signal. It's exactly what I'm doing. I don't want to go outside because the porch has the western sun on it and it's really hot out there. So I'm hoping I'll be able to do this. Audio is fine, but the video is still pixelated. You guys let me know. Is the video still not good? I think it's your cell signal or Wi-Fi. You sound great. Just talk. We will work with it. It says Hockenberry. Pixels are still bad, but I came for the audio. You all, I could take this outside. I really don't want to do it, but I will try it. I'm not going to go on the porch because it's just the sun is beating on it. So I will go outside just the one time. And that's it. I'm not going to move anymore. We're just going to have it stick with pixelated. If it's, oh, it's good when you aren't moving. If you turn away from the rear window a bit, stay inside. Don't go out. Okay. The bright versus the dark is confusing the camera. So get away from the window, you're saying. Okay, I will move. Okay. All right. One more time. All right. Last move. Last move, chair first. Okay, I will get to where it's not so bright and it won't confuse the cell phone. I will get to where it's a little darker in here and hopefully that will allow it to calm down a little bit. And I'm still at the front of the building. So let's see how that works. Right. There. Is that better? Make yourself comfortable. We can hear you. Great. You guys are so awesome with your nice comments about don't go get bit and don't get overheated. Howdy. What about the map, says Keith. I'm going to get to that, Keith. I have that written down. Sister Kate, ma'am, I heard through Pastor Joe that something bad happened to you, though I was never informed as to what. I'm glad you are here today, ma'am. I can tell you about that if you have that as part of your questions. I did do a video on it. The video is on the channel. It's traveling in times of pandemic is where I talk about what happened to me. Yes. Does that mean you do want to hear about it? Hey, Raincat Studio, shalom. We were pretty worried. You can hear me fine. Okay. Do you want to hear about what happened on my trip? I did talk about it in the video. Glad you're back home safe. Thank you. I was actually pretty concerned. At the polls now, much better signal. Excellent. Good to see you, Mrs. Lovely Dudley, too. I couldn't find it. Leaning forward. I was traveling in a minivan with some family members, including one of the grandbabies, and we were 7 adult drivers, and we all just do a stint like 5 hours long, and we get there in a day, and we drive all night long and all day long. Okay, Hans, thank you for the report. This time I planned to take the trip slower. So the first day we only drove maybe 3.5, 4 hours. and we got a hotel. And that city, and it was a little overpriced. It's the one I talked about where the paint in the room was scratched, and the coffee maker, like the pot, didn't even have the filter or the bowl. Buffering here too. Okay, here I am. I've lost most of you. Better stay, Granny. Picture and good show. I'm buffering, but it's good to see you home and safe. Well, is it any better now, y'all? Can you hear me and see me? I'm outside. It's worth having. It's worth waiting for. Patience is a virtue. You're back. We're 5 by 5. Most excellent. Well, I had to come outside, y'all. There I am. I had to come outside where I'm probably going to lose the light and everything. There I am. Better. Good. It's actually cooler out here too, so it's a little more comfortable for me. Let me just push this up a little bit so it's not just staring right in the middle of my body. Yay, says McMikey. Y'all are so nice with your positive comments. There is Aid. Yes, shalom. Glad you made it home safely. There's Teresa Jukowitz. Awesome. I had notes. Oh, I bet you I left the notes inside. Nope, there they are, crumpled up. Hopefully your mom is doing better and well. My mom's surgery to remove a blockage of her colon was successful, but the blockage was cancerous. So we are in the waiting pattern now. Yes, says Rain Cat. And yippee, says Okie Storm Chaser. We're in the waiting pattern. They're going to test her blood like every 6 weeks, and they're going to give her a CAT scan every so often. So I'm just waiting and praying for the Father's mercy on that. And I'm praying that with the tumor taken out of her stomach, that she will return, hello off-grid friend, that she will return to her normal healthy self, because she's a pretty healthy lady. And the person who she's staying with is making sure she's eating really good food, organic and all that other stuff. Hey, JT. All right, so I was talking about my trip, and I was going to tell you about the bad thing that happened. So the first night stay in the hotel was a little disappointing, and I thought they overcharged. But the lady who checked us in made sure to let me know that their town was full. They were having like some kind of sporting event, softball final, something. And so there were very few hotel rooms. And I think that was her way of telling me, well, be grateful for the room you get. So I paid the money without arguing with her, and we went for the next day. And my son has been telling me stay at Motel 6. Shalom, Jay Whipple. And it's affordable and it's generally okay. And as long as, you don't want to spend a lot of money and you're whatever, Meshuggah, I don't know if you know, but that word doesn't actually mean something nice. It means kind of like idiot or something. But anyway, so I thought, we're traveling over 3 or 4 days. So yeah, maybe save a little money. So I made a reservation at a Motel 6. Hello! In Alabama, around a major city, but off in a suburb. And I thought, suburbs often around major cities are just very normal middle-class places with nothing exciting going on. And it happened to be raining that day, and so we pulled into that place at about dusk. And it was kind of tucked away off of like a strip mall. So it was in a sort of quiet place. It shouldn't have had too much traffic. And when I got out of the car, I went inside, and I should have known. This is one of those I should have known. Meshuggah is Yiddish. Did you know anything any drastic with the price of goods? I did know. I thought the hotel rooms were overpriced for what you got. I didn't think food was outrageous. Gas went from anywhere $2.70 a gallon to $3.50. Yeah, hence I think so too. Meshuggah. I love the sound of it. Meshuggah. And sometimes I've heard it said Meshuggah. Thank you, Kentucky Believer. So we get to this one hotel, and I walked in to check in, and it had bulletproof glass. And so I thought, well, maybe, COVID, etc. And there was a really big guy kind of hanging out in there, but he didn't stay. So I kind of looked at him and then I waited my turn. And the clerk took my paperwork. Hey, Champ de Soleil, thank you. And asked for my credit card. And I said, okay, and pointed to like an iPad deal outside the window that I could reach and said, sign there. So I said, okay. That window never came up. Has Jewish humor and Yiddish. Yeah. And I noticed that this iPad thing was situated on the left side of the desk that I could have access to. And on the right, there was a big hole. Like they'd had one there and someone had ripped it out. And so they put it on the other side of this metal tray. And I handed my card under it. And I thought, no, don't prejudge. Don't be, snotty. Just accept what's going on and don't cause a lot of trouble. So he, charged me and then handed my card back and told me my room was around the corner and down some stairs by the pool. And this was not a hotel, it was a motel. So that meant outside. So I get back to my car with my family members inside and we start going around the parking lot looking for room numbers. And I notice on the drive, not just one, not just two, but 3 busted down cars in the hotel parking lot. One of them had a big old dent in the side of it, and they obviously were not being driven. I think all 3 of them had a window broken out, like seriously, like completely broken out, and had like a blanket or a towel over top of the hole. But it was raining, and so the rain was hitting these things, covering these holes and just allowing water to drip down inside the car. And I thought, not a good sign. This is not something you normally see in any hotel parking lot. Spidey sense tingling is a very good way to phrase it. But I'm like, I hope you're going to recon first from now on. Yeah, right? And put a little thought into where and how. So we drive around once, cannot find a room, send a young man in there to kind of spot it for us. He says it's in the interior of the building. So, the buildings go long way rectangle and then kind of form a square and the pool somewhere in the middle. So we park at the back. Hey, Long Star Living, good to see you. And no one is parked, like everyone who's parked there is parked in the spaces closest to the building. No one is parking in the spaces that are up against some bushes, and the bushes are very, very dense and very tall. And so I park against the bushes thinking maybe the fact no one's parking here is not a good thing, but I don't know for a fact. And then the young man starts leading us down to where our room is, and we've got a small dog, we've got luggage, a grandchild, and as we're walking, there's an open door. And there's a lady inside there. She's got her TV going on. She's talking or looking at her phone. And there's a little 3-year-old running around. And the little 3-year-old sees our dog and says, "Oh, Mommy, look, it's a puppy." And the woman says to her, like, "Get your behindy back in this room, MFer," to a little 3-year-old. And I was really like, what? And then my daughter simultaneously, "Hello, Rick," smells smoke. And as we're walking towards our room, there's all this pool equipment in the walking area, like pipes and tubing, like they've had to drain the pool or are cleaning the pool, and they haven't moved it. And it's rainy, and it's like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And so after I hear that lady say that thing to her own 3-year-old, I said, nope. My spidey sense and Pastor Joe in my ear, blah, 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 security, blah, blah. I thought to myself, nope, I am not going to submit myself nor the people I'm with to this particular situation. I'm not going to do it. And so, which is very unusual for me. I said, nope, we're not doing it. Turn around right now. Turn around right now. We're going back to the car. Let's go. Go, 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 go. So we went back to the car, loaded everybody in, and exited. Like, just didn't even stop at the parking lot. I didn't want to talk to the clerk. I didn't want to stand there and argue with anybody. I just moved out. pulled over into another parking area for another business. I think it was a Dollar General, and then sat there, and I was almost shaking. I was so mad and so like, I have standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to ask me for almost $100 for a room, I expect that room to, one, be secure, two, not smoky, three, not being inundated with people cursing, just no. So I contacted PJ, and he's like, how's it going? And I said, not good. Would you, help us out? And so long distance, he got us another reservation at a different hotel about an hour away, after we had all been sitting on our phones desperately trying to find rooms, because this major city, there were very few hotel rooms available, and very few hotels that I was willing to then drive more into the city to get a room. No, I don't want to go anywhere near that city. I want to be farther away. And so Pastor found us a room. We drove another hour. We got there at like 9 o'clock at night, exhausted, and then checked into that hotel. And that particular hotel, well, I won't go into all that story. So that was the bad experience. I was nervous. I was upset. Bottom feeder accommodations. Well, it's this too. It's the management of this hotel. It is a chain, but this particular chain, each hotel is owned by a different manager owner. So they're not, the managers aren't the chain manager. It's the individual who bought the building. And this guy obviously didn't care, or didn't know how to handle it, didn't know how to manage what was happening in his building. And there were also people wandering all over the place. I think it was either a Friday or Saturday night. So it's kind of, no, it might even have been a Thursday night. It's kind of to be expected, but not like the big guy who was in the office with me when I got my room. I saw him like out in the hallways wandering around, and other gentlemen and young ladies going to cars and coming back in, and just people all over the place, which I found disconcerting. Sounds like an extended stay type of place. People who can't get apartments anymore and stay in those. Poor franchise management. Gotta love it. That's exactly what I think it was. And so what I did is I immediately called my credit card people and said, hey, I'm going to contest this. I want to, not pay that fee, because I didn't stay there because I didn't feel safe. And my credit card people are wonderful, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll handle it for you. We'll argue it for you, et cetera, et cetera. So that happened. That was the bad thing. There was sort of another hotel stay the next night that wasn't quite as bad, but it was annoying, and I don't know if I want to talk about it. Let me just say that there was a clerk who was a little bit overstepping her bounds. Hello, David Campbell. And trying to interject herself into decisions that I had to make because of the hotel, and I kind of resented it. So I talked to the manager the next morning. My heart breaks for the little 3-year-old. Mine too. I'm like, oh my gosh, can I just tuck you into our car and take you? Symptom of a societal breakdown. That's exactly it. I did talk to the manager the next morning of the second hotel about that clerk, and that manager was very sympathetic and kind of understood what I was trying to say about, look, you're asking for a lot of money, and I don't expect your clerk to like wake me up in the middle of the night for things that aren't their business, and so on. And so I actually got that room discounted twice because the manager was just nice. She knew I was going to see my aged mother. She was very sympathetic. And then when the clerk acted inappropriately, she discounted it again, which is what we should be demanding. And that's one of the points I made in my video today. And I want you all to think about that, especially you Kate's Crew people. Your money is worth a lot. When inflation happens, it's not the same as when, prices are cheap and Chinese goods break and you just go buy another whatever, cord for your phone. When there's inflation on, your money, to me, takes on a better value. if you think about it. If you are, let's just say a hotel room, if you are going to take 120 of your dollars to stay in a hotel, then you should expect the sheets to be clean, no bed bugs, the clerk should be friendly at the front desk, the elevator should work. If they advertise a pool, the pool should be open and clean. If they advertise an office thing where you can use the computer, you should expect the Wi-Fi to work. And if they don't, you need to complain and demand that this stuff be taken off your bill, because that was the expectation you had and they didn't fulfill it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's going to get a point across to people who are wanting you to pay higher prices for things, that you're not just going to go along quietly and say, okay, fine, just double the price of that room and I'll pay it. Right? More important value. Someone probably did donuts. And hotels are a nexus of potential crime. I recommend anyone around a hotel should always be in condition yellow. Exactly. And I'll give you, for instance, I've stayed in a very expensive hotel room, over $200, which is not even the top. Like, you can get hotel rooms for $50,000. But your better hotels are going to have things like fresh flowers in your room and all around the hotel. They're going to have mints or a basket of goodies on a table or on your bed. You're going to have very luxurious pillows and blankets and everything. Their Wi-Fi should be impeccable. The clerks and everyone who work there should be polite. And if you have a special request like, I don't even know, I need gluten-free food, the clerk should be like, no problem, ma'am, we'll get that right up to you. That's the kind of thing you should be demanding. Right, they'll have security too. They'll have valet parking if you need it. That's what you should be demanding. If people are going to charge you more, if you buy a gallon of milk and it's not fresh and it's rotten, take it back and make a stink. Don't just say, please, can I have another milk? Get in there and say, hey, I paid good money for this. I expect this to be fresh. I want another thing of milk. I spent over $200 for a room and never had fresh flowers. I would refuse to pay it. I seriously would refuse to pay that. I would tell them over the phone, look, if you're going to charge me that, I expect fresh flowers, mints on my pillows. I expect coffee and tea and silverware to stir it with, and a trash can in the area I'm going to be preparing it, so I don't have to grab the one out of the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? We deserve to get worth out of the hard work that we put in to get our money. So don't be afraid of that. Kate's crew, you be on that, all right? Don't let people rip you off. So did any of you have any questions about my trip? I kind of put in the community section that if you had questions, I would answer them. There had better be a mushy bathroom hanging on the door. Bathrobe. Where did I go? I went to the East Coast. That is as much as I want to talk about. See my mom. Service standards have become slow. Go get them, Sister Kate. They expect more people to have it and not say anything. I've slept in my car before because I couldn't find a safe, clean place. And sleeping in your car is an option, but it can be uncomfortable. I've slept in the car before too, and if it's hot like it is right now, you would have to keep your air con running, or the inside of the car gets all humid from your breathing in and out, and it's just not a lot of fun. Hope my mom is okay. Well, so far she's okay. Just going to keep praying that the Father, upholds her health and everything. Okay. Is Pastor Joe okay? Well, I wanted to... Did you see signs of growing homelessness? That's a good question, Brother Chris, because I don't know if I was really honed in on that. I will say I saw a lot of what I considered homeless people, including people sitting on sidewalks. The one hotel I stayed in was on a university campus, and there was a lady who came into the lobby who took one of the carts that they provide for you to put all your stuff on, and she had brought it into the lobby and set a bunch of stuff out on a table, and was kind of talking to herself. And I thought she might be homeless, and maybe they let her come inside for a while, but she was not there the next morning, or even that evening when I went to get ice. I did see a homeless person in a Wendy's right across the street from one of my hotels, right across from a restaurant. They had left their cart and their chair outside. And she had gone into the Wendy's and looked like, I think it was a she, because this person was really covered up, even though it was really hot out, had like a hoodie on and a lot of, looked like padding to me, and was sitting there just staring outside, but had like a little bit of food next to him. So I'm sure it was, hey, shalom, Nidaviller. Yeah. Was sitting there when I went in to get my dinner, and I don't know how long that person was allowed to sit there. I don't know if that person was allowed to sit there until they finished eating, but no doubt they were getting out of the heat because it was really hot outside. Next time I travel, I plan to do it in a camper. I always provide 5-star service. Well, there you go. That's something someone said to me. I don't think Pastor and I want to have a vehicle to pull a camper and to do all the maintenance on a camper. That's why I'd rather go to a hotel where I don't have to make the bed and, all that stuff. Enjoying seeing your videos. I watch Pastor Joe all the time. I think he gets annoyed by my comments. I don't mean to upset him. Looking for a child-friendly resort for September, and the rate is $500 to $700 a night? Dude, Airbnb. Yeah. Come on, Airbnb. We stayed in Airbnbs when we got to where we were going. And if you book them earlier, they are cheaper than if you wait till right before you're leaving. And you usually get a whole house. Renting an RV may be cheaper than a hotel. That's another option. I haven't even looked into renting an RV. But you got to remember, you're going to pay gas on that guy too. And I don't know what kind of gas mileage RVs get. Another option, of course, would be like KOA campgrounds versus an RV park, and KOA are supposed to be really good quality campgrounds. So too many crazy people in a tent is not that thick. Right, that's why I'm saying that, you go to a campground that's guaranteed to have like water and showers and a little security and stuff. Halifax NS is the homeless are more visible as places they used to go get clothes to them. Like I said, I wasn't really trying to gauge the homelessness, but I know that there are going to be people homeless when the COVID rental, not rental agreements, but they're willing to pay people's rent for them while COVID is going on and so on. When that stops happening, there could be a lot of people out on the street. And I will tell you this about homelessness, because I've seen it myself. Homeless people tend to go to the warm places. In the wintertime, they're going to go to Florida. And then in the summertime, they're not going to stay when it gets super hot. They're going to try to go a little bit farther north, if they can. If one has resources for that, perhaps short-term lease a place, depending upon needs. Exactly. Or I'm going to give you a better option right now. Because this COVID thing is spiking up again with the variant and so on, don't go anywhere. We left just in time, because the counties north of where we were had huge spikes in the number of COVID cases right before we left. Like 4 times as many cases, 5 times as many cases. We're passing through Georgia and stopped at a McDonald's, get the kids chicken nuggets, and was smoking weed in the back, right? Some states have made weed legal. We did smell weed in some of the hotels we were in. And there's Biddy Boo's homestead. Shalom, shalom. So something else that I noticed on my trip, if you guys don't mind, I was homeless for 6 years until last week when I bought my Ozark property. Thank you for your recommendations. Now I can park my RV on my own land. There you go, Mama 5, Mama B. Shalom, J.S. Badger. And hi, Biddy. Am I behind? Have you guys? No, I'm not behind in comments. Did you have any more questions about the trip as far as that was concerned? We had a fine time we were there. I was very, very busy. I got one day at the beach. I got to eat one ice cream cone at my favorite ice cream cone place, but I considered it all a success. Any other questions? No? Okay. So, something I noticed, which again, you know me, I don't like the press. I think the press are misleading people. I think the press are causing a lot of problems with their reporting. They're trying to turn people against each other. Well, something I noticed on my trip was when we went through big cities and different neighborhoods, because there are like red light districts and there are urban decay areas where buildings are just abandoned and falling down and everything. There's a very healthy African American middle class around a lot of these cities. I gauged one by the Chick-fil-A restaurant because, you know, Chick-fil-A isn't cheap. It was full of people working there, getting food. You know, there was a huge long line. While Track and Found a Choice Hotel provided what we were used to. And remember, awesome. Did you get your road atlas? Huh? Hey, Biddy, Divine Conquer. Oh, wow, I'm way behind. We have an atlas, but I'm going to go get more. Anyway, there's a booming African American middle class in this country, and I saw plenty of normal houses and people driving regular cars, not broken down pieces of junk, but just, you know, everything from a Land Rover down to a little Honda like I drive. All African American, and I thought, why don't we see more of that in the press? Why is the press always trying to portray a whole class of our citizens as poor or ignorant or criminal? I think that's just wrong. You know what I'm saying? Lana Gazetteer, all right. And someone else said another company, like La Dorme or something. Thank you for jolling for that tip. But it makes me angry. It makes me angry that the press is ignoring a whole part of our country that deserves attention. Right? I mean, what's wrong with just portraying our citizens as normal citizens, you know, living their lives, sending their kids to school, going to work, coming home from work, owning a home? I think it's a disservice for the press to portray African Americans in general as just criminal, like I said, or like I watched a what do you call it? Documentary on Detroit, and what the documentary showed, and Detroit's an exception, right? Detroit's not every city in the country. Said that 60% of the schools there had shut down, or no, 2/3 of the schools had shut down, and so they were assuming a 60% illiteracy rate for the citizens still living there. And they followed around a drug dealer who was African American, and so was like his crew and a lot of the people he was selling drugs to. So by following one person, you're going to get the impression that everyone in Detroit and then you know, wider, many African American men are drug dealers, and that's just not true. There's all sorts of people in all of our communities. There's pastors and taxi drivers and people who work for corporations and lawyers and Olympic coaches. I mean, it's just bad reporting, and I'm really quite angry about it. And I would love to hear or see something on America's African American middle class and what they're up to. There's a whole bunch of people in our military doing all kinds of jobs, like medical things and the transportation things and the photography things and soldiering, and you hardly ever see that either. And it just frustrates me. People like doom and gloom just look at soap operas. I think it's our press trying to politicize everything, and that came in under Clinton's. And I don't like it. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on that. And now we'll get to the maps because I've been on for an hour and I really didn't plan on being too much longer because I'm going to lose the light and the mosquitoes are going to start tearing me up. So as far as the maps are concerned, asymmetrical, did you guys watch asymmetrical preparedness's video on, what did he say? What prepper channels are bad channels or something? You could get Liberty on the Rocks to do a piece. During the height of the defund police, Black Americans were saying they want the police presence. Well, there you go, Dee Dee. Yeah, what channels suck or whatever. But he made some good points. I think it was that video. It was one of his latest videos. He made the point that people need to be more in the reality, if you know what I mean. That it's great to get food and it's great to do this and it's great to do that, but you also need land navigation skills. You need to be able to travel and should think about having an alternative to your vehicle, like a bicycle. He had mentioned that, or throw in there a scooter or a motorcycle or an ATV. Orienteering, exactly. Thanks, Asoya Peace. And so I thought about that because I was actually thinking of doing a video on that topic because I use the GPS. I used the GPS the whole time I was traveling, and I've done the same trip from different parts of the country, from coming from the north and coming from farther west and so on. And in the good old days, I used a map. I used a Rand McNally atlas, and we would plot, where we were and where we were going and what city we needed to go to. And so I would use that thing to go like half a mile because I was in a different neighborhood because my mom moved. And so I was very aware of my dependency on this electronic device. And also, I was not great at using it. You know what I'm saying? I would sit there and, have to go through the 5 steps to type in whatever and then tell it to, show me the thing. Meanwhile, clock is ticking. And I got really frustrated several times. I was like ready to throw my phone. And then his video came into my mind because what if an EMP had struck right then? Or just an attack on the electric system in my area? Or what if roads had to be shut down for something? Right? So that's when I got the idea. I wanted to do a thing on how would you get home? How would I get home if I couldn't use my phone anymore? If I was there and I didn't have a map and I couldn't get a map, let's just pretend, the whole thing falls apart and now I'm stuck 1,000 miles from home. How would I get home? And that's when I got the idea, all right, we all need a map. We all need a map. We need the Rand McNally or the Delorme or any of the ones you guys are talking about, the Gazetteer or whatever. And we need to know how to read it. Odd number highways go north and south. Even number highways go east and west. Good starting point. Exactly, C103. And then you kind of have to depend on what you do know. Like, because I knew where I was, and I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew, generally speaking, that I needed to go west. Now, there are people who live in states like Kansas who directions, they don't even say right or left. They say, yeah, you turn east there and then you go south there and you go a couple blocks and blah, blah, blah. So it would be good for you in your area to understand where north, south, east, and west are. Like when you're standing in your backyard, what side of your house, apartment, RV, campground, land, what side does the sun come up on? Because that's east. And what side does the sun set on? Because that's west. And if you picture the cardinal directions with east on one side and west on the other, then north is going to be in one direction and south is going to be in another, right? You're going to be able to figure that out. Hey, T-Rex. And so if I pictured myself starting to walk, if I had to walk from where I was, I would have been heading west. And now my options would have been go cross country, right? Just start busting brush. Hey, Rita, navigate by a map, better routes and shortcuts away from traffic, right? But I thought about busting brush, and that would have been, at my age, and I was in Florida, maybe possibly dangerous. There's alligators and, big snakes and all kinds of things there. So our highway system is actually, yes, remember moss grows on the north side of a tree. That's one way to figure that out. We actually have a really good highway system in the United States, and many roads are marked over and over again, every couple miles. There's a sign marker, and all your intersections have signs. Add a compass also, but compass won't do you a whole lot of good if you don't know how to use it. I'm just saying, if you had to go strictly by having nothing in your hand, that would help you. No compass, no map, no nothing. You could use road signs unless people started to mess with them, unless people tore them down or graffitied over them or something like that. And you would have to stick to, fairly well-marked roads. You'd be able to, inside the city, go block by block. A lot of cities, have a street sign every block. And so you could follow the blocks and follow the street signs until you got to the outskirts of the city, and then you would take whatever highway. Now, yes, I understand that would not be very safe in a grid down situation, so you can't just walk right down the middle of the road and assume cars are running or not running. It doesn't matter. You would have to skirt the edge of the highway. You would have to walk in the tree line or in the grass line where people couldn't necessarily see you, and it would probably be a good idea to do it at night. And not have a bunch of light stuff on you to draw attention, but that you continue on the road so you can follow something that's well marked. That's as far as I got with that. And then you also have to be fit enough to do the walking. You have to have at least a very minimal, like, bug out bag with some kind of water source or water cleaning source, because if you walk, you're going to need to drink. And some kind of high calorie stuff like peanut butter or granola or chia to kind of power you as you are walking. How long would it take to walk 1,000 miles? Well, if you walked 100 miles every 36 hours, it would only take you about 15 days. But that's probably not going to be most people. You're not going to get more than 5 or 10 miles in a day, depending on the temperature and your condition and everything else. It's going to take you months, weeks for sure. And I don't know if any of us, including me, know what that's going to feel like. Shalom, David Burdetts. Brother David, I need to address something with you while you're here before I get off, because, yeah, anyway. So, you, Kate's crew, you should do yourselves a favor, and you should try to walk a mile. If you aren't already walking a mile or more, or running, or whatever, a mile or more, you should try that. Go to a nearby track at a high school or whatever. Usually 4 times around is a mile, and just see what happens. Do you get blisters? Do your feet hurt? Are you breaking out sweating? Are you having a hard time breathing or whatever? Because it's going to take many of those if you have to go any distance. If you have an emergency like a fire in your area or a tornado comes through, you may have to walk, and you should know if you can do it. Thank you, Claire V. Thank you. And the other thing I want you to do, Kate's crew, those of you who got maps, I want you to pick a point on the map near you that you have never been to before. And I don't care how far out you go. If you want to go 4 or 5 hours, go ahead. But I'm talking about anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour away from where you are, and just pick a point and go there using your map. Lon says, practice with the load you will carry. So if you're going to try walking the mile first, and then if you don't have any problems, put your bug out bag on and do it. And if you can't wear your bug out bag, try getting one of those, what am I saying? A wagon or there are wagons now that places like Sam's Club sell that are lightweight and you can fold them up. Try pulling your bug out bag in the wagon, or a luggage carrier, or alternatives if you cannot carry it on your back. Pack it on your dog and have your dog come. Pack it on your goat and have your goat come. Put it on your ATV. I don't care. Just whatever. 65 South Homesteader said he wants to be in Kate's crew. Well, then you're in it. All you have to do is want to be in it, and you're in it. That's what my subscribers voted to call themselves, is Kate's crew. So you're there. But I want you to pick a point on your map in your area that you have not been before, and I want you to use only your map, not your phone, not your GPS, and find that place. Mama V says, I'm in Kate's crew. Yay! Once you've found that place, I would like you to comment in the community section of my channel where you went and how hard it was and how long it took you to get there. I walk 3 to 5 miles a day in my wheelchair, but that's like going for walks sitting in your recliner. Okay. Not sure what you mean by that, Mikey. Ooh, there's a spot on there. I can pull a cart with my mobility scooter. Well, if you have a mobility scooter, you ought to be able to just put your bug out bag on that and go with your mobility scooter. Have a blessed night. To Biddy Boo. Okay. So that's my thing. That's my challenge. That's my request to y'all. That is what I would like y'all to do. I would like you to use your map and tell me if if it was easy, hard, where you went, how far away it was, and what you saw there. I would appreciate that, and I will be looking for that on the channel. So, the thing with Brother David Burdett, I commented on it on the video that I made about the t-shirt. Here it is. I'm wearing it. Just live it. That I was 6 hours away from Brother Andre. And I only knew that because the packaging he sent this shirt in had his address on it. And so I thought, wow, that's awesome. I will be able to go see Brother Andre while I'm on my trip. And so I made a comment on my video about, I'm only 6 hours away. And I was waiting for him to say something like, oh, cool, you're in the neighborhood. But I don't know if he saw my comment. And then I was actually planning on going there on my way home. But then my journey didn't take me to his part of the state. It took me like 3 hours short. And so I never got a chance to. And I was actually kind of disappointed by that. And I also thought I might be able to see Brother Chris on the way out. And it wasn't close to where we were. The closest we came is that journey before there. And we were like an hour away. And I wanted to make it work there. And we got so busy there, it wasn't able to happen. So I was really disappointed. So if you talk to Brother Andre, just let him know that I was, that close. I was actually picturing in my mind, just having a picture of me with the shirt, with him and his wives and his children, and, just one big happy family, and it just didn't work out. And I feel kind of bad about that. So it's going to be a while, I hope, before I get into that area again. Because if I have to go there again soon, that means something happened to my mom, and Yah forbid. Thank you, Brother Chris. Right? I would still I just feel like seeing other believers right now would just be so amazing and uplifting. I'm supposed to be able to go 14 miles on a fully charged battery. I have an electric golf cart too. Hubby and I could go together and much faster. Exactly. And then you're not having to cart that stuff on your back. Thank you for thinking of him. He will be delighted. Well, this shirt is so cool. I saw it in a picture that y'all had somewhere on one of your live streams. I'm like, oh, I like that. I really like that. Well, I got lost on the way home, back from the beach. My dad took too many turns and traffic lights. At 10, I navigated our home, and we beat my dad. Nice. Good. There you go. Buy one that folds, stored in the trunk, or whatever. Exactly. All right.
Okay. I even got stranded a long distance from home with vehicles out of the question would be to look for a bike. You can cover 50 miles a day on a bike, keep a hacksaw blade handy to liberate one. It is an idea. Bicycles are, you're going to have to power it, which means you're going to have calories and water, and you have to have balance, and you're going to be a little bit vulnerable. It's easy to topple somebody on a bike if you're on the ground. And you're going to have to be able to go around obstacles and stuff like that. But bikes are an alternative thing of travel. Um, you don't want to wreck. You want to be careful because if you wreck it and you don't have the extra parts and everything, it will be useless to you after that. Let's see what we got going on here. Have to get going. Blessed night. Now, use shield for my car. I can get home. It also covers for a CME. Wish my friend would grab your mom and his mom who's in Florida and get your neighborhood working on them. My mom is fine where she is. She has people who are taking care of her, so your friend doesn't need to do anything like that. She has very, very adequate care going on. Okay, y'all, I'm going to get back down to the house. I've only been home a day, and I've been pulling weeds and playing with critters and trying to clean up and deal with the heat because the hotel rooms in the car were air conditioned. And woo, I'm back on off-grid living with the real temperature outside and trying to. We still have some stuff in the garden that's alive. We have some Swiss chard, we have some green beans and some tomatoes that should be coming ripe. I saw that my grapes did not do well. I don't know what's going on with the grapes. I think I've got to isolate those plants better because it looks like they got the brown rust on a lot of the grapes, and I'm really disappointed by that. But I will get it right one of these times. All right, y'all. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And Kate Crew, I'll be looking for your map answers and comments. Bless y'all. Shalom. Okay. All right.